To everyone that has listened to the podcast episode relating to David's death, I thank you. Thank you for your heartfelt words, for your sharing, for your compassion. And now I want to tell you the next steps that have been taken. I reflected upon that podcast and the experience that Adrian and I had travelling to Queensland last week. And I've put an email to the coroner, and I thought I would read it to you all to keep you in the loop. So, dear coroner, my name is Carmel, younger sister of David Luke Wakeham. Our family has been advised via the Coronial Family Services to contact you with some information and specific questions surrounding the circumstances leading to David's death. My specific question is, to what extent do you investigate the system conditions that may have contributed to David's suicide? Whilst we were in Queensland last week, we've heard on 2 occasions that the police may have had advance notice regarding David's suicide risk. One was second or third hand information and the other information was first hand. Firstly, my brother Adrian made comment that the police officer who found David referenced a tip-off from a retail outlet where the retail assistant described that something wasn't right with the customer. And secondly, David's property manager told me directly that she had told police she was worried about David, was not okay or not in a right state of mind. I do not know the time frame of the above 2 matters, but to me it's very valid to further understand if there was opportunity to intervene prior to the event, and if not, why not? Next, I would also like to share the publicly accessible web pages that I have seen following his death that heartbreakingly showed what he was going through, what system conditions he was navigating, his state of mind, and what he was planning in his final weeks. I'm also aware that David was accessing or applying for support services from QStar, the Ipswich Housing Centre, the In-Community Outreach Team, Task Legal and Social Justice Service, Disability Advocacy, the NDIS, and attempting to access superannuation for hardship. From what I've been able to put together, this podcast is one I've produced reflecting on what David's advocacy was regarding falling through the cracks of the system conditions, leaving him to see that suicide was his final choice. At the same time, not giving up. It appears he was applying for support, applying for jobs, packing up his house, etc. until the end. If there was opportunity to investigate the support services' perspective on David's situation, it may well help us all understand what the full picture was and any opportunity for us as a society or system to do better. In my mind, this is all relevant to your inquiry, and I do hope you're able to acknowledge this email and offer any feedback as to what may or may not be explored as part of your work. Kind regards, Carmel. I received a response from the Coroner's Court of Queensland. Good morning, Miss Riley. Thank you for the below email which has been provided to the coroner for their information. Please be advised Her Honour has noted and is considering the matters raised. Upon receipt of that email from the coroner, I recalled I'd forgotten one other piece of evidence for Her Honour. And so this email followed. Please refer the lived experience submission from David following the Senate inquiry into poverty in 2022. Refer page 35 of the transcript. I came across this heartbreaking realisation that it was my estranged brother providing his lived experience by chance as I was working in social enterprise with a focus on poverty alleviation through inclusive economic engagement and keeping track of the inquiry. I note the government has not yet responded to the recommendations from the final report tabled in 2024. Thank you once again. Now, if you haven't yet heard the podcast that I'm referring to, I will put the link in the comments to this post. And if you feel up to it, please do have a listen. And if you do not feel up to it, that's completely understood. And, I respect when the time is right. Thank you. So now it's a waiting game. But to hear that the coroner is potentially taking my questions into account and, I guess at a minimum, honours the albeit tragic circumstance, it honours the legacy that David was seeking to deliver in his final breath.